Hi, everyone. This is Marilyn Bradford, and I would like to welcome you to my Left Turn podcast. What is your left turn? Writing a blog, parenting in a different way, letting go of the old because you are aware of something greater. Left turns are choices we can all make. It's about a willingness to step into the unknown in any area of your life, to trust yourself, to risk creating or trying something new. It's about letting your true uniqueness shine. The greatest people who have lived, artists, statesmen, writers, explorers, musicians, have all been people willing to turn left. What capacities do you have that you have not acknowledged? What would your life and the world be like if you were willing to turn left? Hi, everyone. I'm Marilyn Bradford, and this is another edition of the Left Turn podcast. And I have a brilliant and amazing young woman with me, and I can't pronounce her name, so I don't want to butcher it. So I'm going to have her introduce herself.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Marilyn. So my name is Tereza Dobrotová, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
You're so welcome. I was looking over your biography. Tereza wears many hats, such as that as of an access consciousness facilitator, translator, event host, hormone yoga therapy teacher, to name a few. I mean, it's pretty amazing all the things you do. Her love for languages has brought her to living in different countries, traveling the world with her business, and helping people discover their capacities with languages and communication using the tools of access. This is my favorite line. Tereza is a dynamically different, crazy creature. That's just wonderful.
Yeah, that's how Dr. Dane here called me at one class, and at one Symphony of Possibilities class, and I really liked it. So,
Well, apparently you've done a lot of left turns in your life. Can you name a few and what they meant to you, or how it was to follow your knowing? Were people against you, or all of those things? Any and all of those things.
So, for example, at my high school, I was a daughter of a teacher, right?
Okay.
So all the teachers were kind of looking at my grades, and I excelled at school. School was always pretty easy for me, and everybody was waiting for me to, choose what I would like to study next. And I realized already back then that fitting in a box was not really my thing. And I saw everybody choosing their path, humanities, science. All I knew was I loved languages and I loved everything, but nothing so much that it would be the only thing that I would want to do in life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I decided, because I fell in love.
There's that one.
Yeah, I decided, what if I follow that?
Ah.
And what if I don't go to any university and go abroad?
Now, where do you live, or where were you living, so we can get a geographical sense of this?
Yeah, so I was born in Slovakia.
Okay.
And currently I live in France, but where I actually moved in after high school was Switzerland.
Oh, wow. You have been around.
Yes. So that was one of the countries that I moved in, and it was interesting. I was in my teenage years, and suddenly all eyes were on me from school. Everybody else is going to study, going to university, and you, a daughter of a teacher, why not? It felt kind of I was going against the whole world in a way.
Yes, you were. Definitely.
And I wished I had the tools of access back then, so I would know that I don't really need to fight. I can just choose,
Yes.
don't really need to rebel. But that's also who I was. And I would say also, all my life, I never had a problem of learning anything. Like learning things, I love it. New languages or anything like that. And
That's great.
yeah, it's it's one of those things that are quite easy and very fun for me. I'm like a learning hedonist, you know.
How many languages do you know?
So I would say more or less fluently 5, and then 3 others that I can get by with.
Wow, 8 languages.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I'm impressed.
On different levels. But yeah, I would love to know more. It's not enough.
Yes, always more.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and I went to Switzerland with 50 euros in my pocket, to live with a person, my boyfriend that I knew for maybe 1 month. And this was one of those ideas. And now we're married. So I guess, it
was a good choice.
It was a good choice, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I also studied things, I started studying this and that, like architecture, but I realized, no, I love to be in action, so I love to get my hands on things. I don't really like spending so much time in theoretical land, let's put it that way. So in the end, I did not finish any of those studies that I started, but I was trying out all these different things. I was even, I was crafting, because I loved crafting as well. So I was making earrings, I was selling them in Switzerland on the streets, engaging people. I tried different things. I was an au pair. I did that. I managed restaurant. I did all kinds of things.
What were the most fun for you?
The most fun were where I could engage with people, basically.
Okay. You like to engage with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Tell me more about translating. I've always been impressed with the translators because I speak English and, I just slightly hear them going, I'm like, how do you translate Gary and Dane? Or what? Just tell me about being a translator.
So this is also interesting. I always knew I wanted to do something with languages, and translating was the obvious choice. And everybody was telling me, well, it's pretty hard to get a job as an interpreter, translator, and you have never studied it, and so on and so forth. But then came along Access, and I realized it doesn't need to be that way. Even if everybody else is telling you, how would you want to do this? It's not going to be possible. But yeah, I started translating with Access, classes and manuals, and books and all this. And I enjoyed so much. I think it's, for me, it's always been a gift and an honor to be able to translate what Gary and Dane and other facilitators are saying, conveying consciousness, empowering people. It's beautiful. It has changed me so much just to be able, and I don't want to sound significant, but to be able to actually say these words too. I love to be that channel or that bridge. And I love to see people laugh, with a little bit of delay, as there is sometimes with translation. But when there is a joke, for example, especially those that should not be translatable, because they're literal or they use these games of words in English, and I managed to translate it, and I see the people in the audience laughing, the participants, that's like, yes, I did it. It's one of those very
very rewarding, it sounds like.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Do you have preferable languages you like to translate? Or, if you speak that many languages, you could translate all kinds of things.
With each translation and with each language, I learn something new. I love it. They're all different. It's like I am also a different person in a way when I speak this or that language. It's an amazing exploration.
Oh, tell me more about that, about being a different person. Could you give some examples?
Oh, examples, maybe not of like particular situations, but especially, for example, when I also lived in a country, I used to live in Spain, where I would speak Spanish and I danced flamenco, and I had all of these, different experiences at a certain period of my life, which are brought back every time I speak the language. And I get maybe more into kind of like a fiery, type of person, and just it's a play, basically playing around. Yeah.
Well, this is interesting to me because I've always had the sense that whatever language someone speaks or a country, it influences them. I mean, it's both ways, kind of. But like you were talking about fiery in Spain, and then there's German, which is very, it's just fascinating to hear you say that you change when you translate different languages. I think people should get that. That's pretty amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
And you're also an access consciousness facilitator, right? Are you a CF or?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. What are your favorite classes to give?
Oh, my favorite class is definitely the foundation.
Yeah.
And also with it changing every year, with
Yes.
a new, different manual and things that get added, it's never the same. And of course you have different participants, but it's amazing. And then I love facilitating anything that is to do with the symphony, the Symphony of Possibilities. Yes. It's because it's also a language
Yes.
of energy. Yeah.
Say more about that, because I don't think a lot of people understand that.
Yeah, because some people now maybe listening to this conversation can be like, oh, but I only speak this many languages or this or that. But what if actually underneath all of that is the language of energy? And the Symphony of Possibilities is just this amazing playground where you cannot get it wrong. You can play with these energies that Dr. Dane here introduced to this world. And it's about sessions on people, but not only that. It's basically the way you can be and play with anything and everything in your life and really get to know yourself as the energetic being that you are, and how you have always been communicating with everything around you, and everything has been communicating energetically, and how you can engage. It's one of those things. Exactly. Yeah.
And it fits in so much with being. I love it when he says, if you come up, you're working on a client, nothing's happening, and you just drop all your barriers and just be with them. And that's been an amazing experience for me, to just be,
It's one of those first moments when I was allowing myself actually to be. And when I discovered the value of it.
Yes, it's very different. It's very different. Well,
yeah. And speaking of the language of energy, that's also another class that I love to facilitate. That's an access consciousness specialty called More Ease with Languages and Communication, about,
I didn't know about that. That sounds great.
It's actually an access specialty that's been around for several years. Katyusha Zakaniewicz, who is also one of Access translators, she founded this specialty class. And now we both facilitate these classes. And it's been a lot of fun.
Exactly. Oh, I'd love to take one of those. I think communication is so misunderstood.
Yes.
And by speaking so many different languages, I just know that your awareness of knowledge and of language and communication is much greater than mine, and I could learn a lot. I mean, really, I like to learn too. I really do. But that sounds fascinating. How would someone find one of your classes or sign up? Do you do them in English or lots of different languages, or?
Yeah, lots of different languages. I always have them on my website, terezadobrotová.com. And it's basically using the tools of Access when it comes to, and it can be any type of communication and really any type of language.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd say to people who'd like to learn languages or learn about translating or communicating? What would you say to them? What kind of, I don't want to just be advice, but what would be some words of encouragement or empowerment?
Mm-hmm. I would say that, follow what's light and what's fun for you. And maybe you might need to unlearn some things that you learned at school, and that's also part of that. And just you are allowed to have fun, even with things like languages and communication and learning,
I think that's great. Yes, I will keep that in mind, definitely. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. You're just a bright spot.
Thank you so much, Marilyn.
Thank you so much for joining this episode of Left Turn. I wonder what embracing left turns could create in your life. What magical possibilities might show up. Remember, when you choose left turns, you are joining a group of the most creative and brilliant people the world has ever known.